Well, good evening, Titus. Thank you for coming on Sports Talk with C.
No problem at all. Appreciate you having me.
Of course, it's about time. Definitely had to get, our sponsor and definitely have to know more about the Ozell brand on here. So, like I said, thank you. Tell us a little bit who you are and where you're from.
Well, my name is Titus Ozell Golden. I am from Kansas City, Missouri, Show Me State. Most people know about us from the Kansas City Chiefs, we be putting it on everybody, but yeah, that's where I'm from. Born and raised.
Born and raised?
Yeah.
Nice. So I was on your website
hmm
and I was reading some things about some hardships and life lessons that you had to go through.
Right.
But before we get through that, I just want to know, like growing up as a kid, was it always just football that you wanted to be a part of or start a brand that had to do with football? Or was it something that just came about based on the direction of where your life was heading?
So to be honest with you, just my story within itself, I took a liking to shoes when I was maybe in the sixth, seventh grade and went through so much traumatic experiences in life. And I would always tell myself, like, whatever shoes that I wear is going to get me out of these bad situations. So I was into playing football, basketball, baseball, did a little bit of track, but I always told myself, no matter what I wear, I'm gonna be something. I'm gonna make something out of myself. So it didn't matter if I was wearing some dress shoes. I said, "Hey, I'm a James Brown up out of these bad boys and make something into myself." So the whole brand, like I never thought about owning my own shoe business, like never. That was never a dream. That was never a passion at all whatsoever. All of this just came about within a year or so. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's pretty much how, little short version, we could dive into it, but that's pretty
Yes,
much
I
how,
want to.
that's how pretty much how we, I got into it.
So what are some of the life lessons that you speak about on your website? Like you said, growing up, hardships, I read the one where with your mom.
Yeah.
So how does those experiences show in Ozell brand?
So it's crazy because like growing up, a lot of men, like we were raised in single parent homes. And so it's like you always get that perspective from a woman, but you never get a perspective from a male. So as men, as we, like some women would say, like, you too sensitive, you too emotional. But you got to understand, we was raised by a woman. So women are emotional, they express themselves, their feelings. Your daddy ain't no good. She like your mother's gonna tell you how she feels. You know what I'm saying? And so
Mm-hmm.
like as men, we get older, and I start learning from everything that I went through. And so like one of the first things was, my mother getting robbed and shot, when I was a kid. And so like watching my mom fight for her life and everything like that, it was just very difficult, to see that. And so like during that period of time, like I had family members who took advantage of me. And so like I was sexually molested by males in my family,
Wow.
some of the most horrible things, that you could think of. And so for me, it was just like crazy on top of everything that I was going through. And so, even like with those male cousins and like what they did, like I never like battled like my sexuality, like at all. But I was very insecure of who I was because I didn't know myself.
Right.
And so just think like you coming from being raised by a mother to where you're being male like dominated by males of your family who's sexually assaulting you. And it's like, who do you turn to? And so like when I got in high school, my mother had got married. She went through a lot of domestic violence with that. I remember one night, I heard my mom and her husband fighting. And when I got up, I saw that he had a gun, a shotgun. And so, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, man, I can't let you shoot and kill my mama. Like, she already bounced back from getting shot before,
Right.
literally losing her life. And so, I stood in front of the gun and I told him, like, you got to take my life. And so, I kind of seen like a little weak point, in that. So we all start tussling over the gun and everything like that. And so, like, one of my brothers, he was like, man, I'm about to call our boys. So, like, me, I'm thinking, like, yeah, call them, dogs. Like, we need them. And so he got called the police. And so, like, when they came, they pretty much like allowed my mom, husband to leave. There was no consequences for the action, that took place. And so I'll never forget, he had left. That was my sophomore year of high school. He had left and he never came back. Well, he came back one time. He came back to grab like a few things. He
Mm-hmm.
grabbed like all his hat collections in one TV. But the man, he could dress, the whole 9 yards. And he was a big dude. He was an All-American football player. And so it's crazy. Like he came back and grabbed those things and he walked out. So like when people be like, man, I just walked out of my life. Like, no, this man left and never came back to the point like we struggled. Bill collectors was calling. I remember I came home from school one day. I had set the trash out and I was like, why everybody else trash got picked up by ours? And so it was like so chaotic for me, even in high school, to where I would be like, dang, like I can't study, I can't do nothing because it's bill collectors calling. It's
Life was more important in the
yeah.
moment.
And so me and my brother that's 2 years older than me, my brother Terrence, me and him, we was into sports. And so like we had to make a decision if we was gonna, because we had started writing like Christian music. We had a Christian hip hop group called the Missionaries.
Oh,
And so
that's different.
yeah, and so like we traveled, we did a lot of stuff with that. We had got invited to like BT Stella Awards. I mean,
Oh,
we
wow.
Mary Mary. We done a lot of different projects with people and travel like a lot of places. And so we had to make a decision if we was gonna, do that full time work or play sports. So we gave up sports so we can, do music, try to make this quick money and hold down, jobs so we can help around the house. And so it was crazy because like, I shared one time that me and my brother, like my mom, she would give us like $3 for lunch every single day, and like my dad, like our biological father was not in our life. And so we would save our $3 for lunch just so we could have spending money on a weekend. So we would go to school and don't eat anything just because we didn't want to keep asking our mom for something. And so that's where we was just like, man, we got to work, like we got to help out. And that's kind of like, some of those traumatic situations
Hmm.
that I went through that kind of inspired me to be who I am today.
That's dope. And I appreciate you for coming on my show and being honest and real
Oh
and
yeah,
being open to sharing that part of your life with everyone who listens or are going to watch. So thank you again.
yeah, no,
Um, if you could describe your brand in one word, what would it be?
I say love.
Ooh, I like that.
And the reason why I say that is because like I've learned like love conquers all. And it's funny because I was just having this conversation earlier, and it's like a lot of people don't know what true love means or
Hmm.
what it looks like, to where when you see what true love is, it's a foreign language to you. But the crazy
Hmm.
thing about it is that the person who's showing you that love is the person who's walking in love, and they actually the interpreter as well. So for me, that's why my brand is love. Like I've forgiven everybody who ever done anything, to me. It's like my mom husband, like me and him, we super cool. And shout out to Mr. Rod, Big Rod, like super cool. Like, he married into God. Like he literally took his trauma and his faults, you know, his everything about him that was just horrible, and turned it into something positive to where I could pick up the phone and call him. And for me, I'm like, that's showing love. Like the God that's in me, the love that's in me, the love is in him as well. So that's why I say like my brand is about love, and people just be like, it's not just about shoes. Like shoes is just a symbol. But let's talk about this trauma that people go through. Let's talk about these single mothers, these children, these men who's suffering as well, just as well as women. Like that's what my brand is all about, to allow myself and other people to have those platforms to have a voice and to be heard.
That's dope. I commend you on that because a lot of men won't even, you know,
Right.
put out a brand that stand on
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
especially not a sneaker brand.
Right.
So
That's it. Yeah.
so I seen, you had the nightlife shoe, you had another shoe, and then you had a cleat.
Right.
So is the brand more towards sneakers and cleats, or will it be a variety of different things?
So it's going to be a variety of different things.
Okay.
So we provide all sports, cleats,
Okay.
football, soccer, baseball. We do boxing, wrestling.
Oh,
You
nice.
know, we even could tap into like ice skating, you know, figure skating, all that, you know, hockey, you know, we do it all. And so like even like with the tennis shoes, like the tennis shoes just representing like my background. Like I love like shoes. Like that's what, you know, seventh grade, that's what I was into. You know, I was like, man,
I'm
these
still
shoes,
into sneakers,
you
so
know, I'm like, look, these shoes gonna get me out of these bad situations, but let me keep these things clean. And it was crazy because like in seventh grade, I was wiping off all my like whatever shoe I would wear for that day, I
Mhm.
would wipe it off. And that was the same, that's the same thing that I do to this day. Like I wipe my shoes off, you know, put them up, you know, because I'm like, you never know who you're gonna be in front of or what you're gonna be doing that day. You know, you want to always be, you know, look presentable and ready, you know. And so now like we're really gonna expand, you know, and one thing that I wanted to do that I am going to do is I want like a young lady, a woman to come in to kind of help us when that time comes
Mhm.
to design a real nice heel, you know,
Oh,
for
that's
women,
fire.
like style some heels and then even, you know, some dress shoes like for men, you know,
Mhm.
being able to do that, you know, because I, you know, like I tell people, I said, man, you know, like I don't have no connections at Nike, Adidas, like none of these brands, you know. And so the platform is there. It's like, why not create this for ourselves? You know,
Correct.
like why? It's crazy because like most people say that you can't do it, and it's because they think in their mind that they can't
Can't
do
do it.
it, and
Mhm.
they've never seen anybody. Like I wasn't around like when Jordan first got in the league. You know what I'm saying? But I did watch him play, and as he was coming along, but I didn't know the journey that he had to take to get the Jordans out now. I didn't know the Nike story, how they, you know, the face of America when it comes to shoes and clothing. You know, I don't know these things, but at the same time, I can't tell you nothing personally about these people. Only thing I do is read about what they put out, but I want people to know who I am. I want people
Right.
to know what my brand is all about and what we stand for. If I never sold a pair of shoes, I'm good on that. As long as the mission is going forth, spreading awareness about trauma and spreading awareness about forgiveness, about grace, about love, that's my biggest platform.
I love that. And back to the shoes, like you were saying earlier about being always being presentable, always, you never know. Like did so many basketball games, and the first
Mhm.
thing people notice are my feet
Right,
all the time. And
right,
that's what
right,
gets them to talk to me.
right,
And everyone goes, ask me, what do you do to meet all these people? I'm like, honestly, my shoe game. Like
right,
or if I have my vest, or if I have something like that. And everyone's like, no way. I'm like, I'm serious. People are
right,
so into an image. People are so into like a brand of a
right,
shoe.
right,
That's the first thing. And you never
right,
know who you're going to meet.
right,
That can be they can be, your next business partner. That can be the
right,
next billionaire
right,
that you're
right,
about to sit at the table with. So I definitely agree with you that
right,
you don't know who you're ever going to meet, and
right,
always looking presentable is
right.
a fact.
Right. Yeah, I heard that you got a real dope shoe game. And
I do. Oh, I
I
do.
seen your IG, I was like, dang, I was like, okay, like I see you, I see you. But it's crazy because like even like with my shoes, because people like look at my tennis shoes, and that's why I don't, you know, I don't know how long we gonna tap into the tennis shoe world. You know, like literally like how this happened was that I was like really in a dead spot in my life. You know,
Hmm.
I was just waking up every day with a routine, you know, like you wake up every day, brush your teeth, make your coffee, whatever, whatever, and you go about your day. But there was no excitement. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
it was just like a routine, like, oh, I know what I'm doing tomorrow, same old, same old.
Same old difference, right? There's nothing
Right.
changing.
And like my barber, like for the past like 3 or 4 years, he would always ask me, like, Titus, what's your purpose? And I would be like, I don't know. Like, you know, like I didn't know. Like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, bro, like I don't know,
I don't
dog.
know.
It's gonna be the same every
I'm
time I
working,
come
living
in.
life, paying bills.
Yeah. So I remember one day I prayed and I said, God, like, show me my purpose. Like I need something, you know, and I had this dream. You know, I dreamed about this brand. Um, you know, when I dreamed about it, literally I was asleep and I had this dream. Like I woke up and I was just like, dang, you know, kind of just went on my way for like 2 weeks. So the one of the people that God had sent me was a guy named Don, you know, and Don, he actually owns Deep Rooted Clothing here in Kansas City, and that's a dope clothing line. So I recommend everybody, anybody that's listening, gonna be listening, watching, to go to Deep Rooted, follow him on Facebook, Instagram. Man, that dude got some real dope clothes. So I was talking to him, and so like me and him come from the same neighborhood, but we never crossed paths before that we remember. And so we was just talking, and he was just like, bro, it's more to you than people know. And you such a cool dude, like literally. And I told him, I said, bro, like I had to go through a process where God had to restore me and everything because I used to didn't be this way, you know. And he said, man, you got something in you that people need. And when he said that, it reminded me of my brother Trans. My brother used to always tell me, he's like, bro, people gonna know you sooner or later, and you got something in you, dogs, that people don't see and people need. And I used to be like, man, whatever, you know, because he was that outgoing dude that he popular, everything. He was that dude. And I was just like, man, whatever. I just didn't care, you know, because there were so many times of my trauma, I thought about committing suicide, you know. So I used to think like, bro, I might not be here tomorrow. Like, if I could build up this courage to take my life, I'm gonna take my life. You know what I'm saying? So I really wasn't on that. And so then the next person, we was out at a restaurant, and this guy came up to me, and I saw him from a distance, and I was like, man, hopefully this dude don't come up to me, because he was drunk. And I was like, man, I can't deal with people when they drunk. So like 45 minutes later, he came up to me, and he was like, hey man, my name is Marcus. And I introduced myself, and I said, man, I'm Titus, nice to meet you. He said, bro, I just see you over here, and I looked at you in your eyes, and he said, and I could tell that you own to something great. He said, God has already given you the platform. Just go forward. He said, don't worry about nobody, what nobody got to say. He said, you got it. Man, at that time, man, I had a tear that was about to drop out my eye. And I was just like, it's crazy because if I turn a deaf ear to these people and ignore them, I would never be here talking to you. You know,
Right.
I would never have the Ozell brand. I wouldn't have any of that, you know. And so when I was thinking about like a name, I was like, man, I don't even know what the name, none of that. And it was just like God just put it there, put it in somebody to tell me, like, bro, use Ozell. And so Ozell is actually my middle name.
I
And
love
so,
it.
yeah, and so the reason why I use that is because that was the first thing in my life that I was insecure about. Like I hated that middle name. Like that name was so old and country. I said, man, what is a Ozell? Like, I'm like, that's, and so like that's my grandfather's name, in Mississippi, he had passed away, but that was his name, his name was Ozell Golden. And so I asked my mom, I said, man, what was you thinking? So my brother, his middle name was Darnell. So I used to always tell people like, hey, my middle name is Darnell in high school. So people used to be like, Trent, your middle name is Ozell. He's like, nah, man, that's Titus' middle name. I'm like, bro, why are you lying to these people? That's your middle name. And so it was crazy because like now I look at it differently. I'm like, man, that was something I was insecure about. Now it's the face of something. And I'll be able to tell the story, as a man, how I was insecure about something like that and how we take it for granted. Like people, they be insecure about stuff. People like, man, that's nothing. But to them, it's huge, So that's pretty much how we got the name.
That's what's up. And what has been, you could say, the toughest part about this Ozell brand journey thus far?
To be honest, it's tough in general because of the fact that I've never operated a business ever. Like I didn't go to school for business. I went to college for probably a year. Didn't finish. Don't know nothing about the business background. So it's like learning everything as I go along. And then too like dealing with people. I feel like I want people to be personal with me,
Right.
but it's different because giving people too much access, they just like try to run all over me, and I don't like that. Like I tell people like you can't pick up the phone and call Nike or Jordan and be like, hey, on your website, you don't have a size 13. So when you gonna get a size 13? Like I get those messages, or people hit me up personally, like, hey, I want a pair of these shoes. And I'll be like, no, like go to the website, So those are the frustration times for me because it's like I built a platform that's friendly and useful, just like any other business,
Mm-hmm.
other brand. And just because you guys think that you can reach out to me personally, like go to the website, shop
That's what it's.
online, But
Mm-hmm.
if you want to talk to me personally about some things, like absolutely, like I
Right.
got you. But just getting people to listen, like that's difficult, because I work with like 5 different manufacturers,
Oh, wow.
and we do a lot. So like my sleep, my time, that's where it gets me. Like sometimes I'm waking up at 3 in the morning to jump on a Zoom call, to confirm a design or to say, nah, we're not doing this, So it's hard work. It's difficult.
And what has been the best feeling?
Man, to be honest, the best feeling is to like literally wake up every day and say, I'm literally living out my purpose. Like I'm literally doing something that I had no idea how to do, and I'm doing it. Like when the first shipment of shoes came in, and I was just like, wow, like we designed these. Like this is my brand. This is my shoe. You know, like doing that, man, that's like mind blowing. It's crazy. In literally January 2023 is
Mm-hmm.
going to be a year for us.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a year.
1 year?
Yeah, 1 year.
Woo,
And
that is dope. And look at you. Look,
yeah,
look at all the work you put in, how far you came in year one.
yeah.
And I can only imagine how excited you are for year two. Like,
And it,
and
you
if
know, it's crazy because like I tell people, I said, man, I literally want to be that door to where I can open up for other people. I'm like everything, that you guys do, like MV Sports. I was like, y'all with me. You know what I'm saying? Like where I go, y'all there. Like whoever, tap in with me, And it's kind of one of those things that is going to be hard for people to jump on board, once I go this other direction. So it's like I've been patient, giving people opportunities, and everything like that. But people just watch you and look to see if you're gonna fail, to see if you're gonna give up. But I'm like, this is not taken away from nothing. You know what
it's
I'm
making
saying?
me
Like,
stronger, so keep
yeah,
doing that.
I'm like, it don't take away from family, me being a father, it don't take away from anything. I'm like, man, I do this anywhere. You know what I'm saying? 5 minutes, a 5 minute message on my phone could turn into $1 million deal, like, and it can. But my whole goal is the resources, the things that I get and I build, I want to put it back in my community,
I love that.
like
Mhm.
like I was just saying, like I wanted to a feeling where I want to be able to adopt like 10 families,
That's what's up.
for Christmas and be like, you know what, for the adults, I want to know how much debt you have. And they say, oh, I got 200,000. Your debt is paid. What the kids
That's
want. So the kids, hey, we got that. Y'all need a new car. Boom, here y'all
it's
go.
bigger than
Yeah.
it's bigger than what
Right. So
people
it's
are
like,
seeing.
right. So I'm like, I want to give y'all resources and tools that y'all can use to better y'all lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So if I,
definitely.
so if I could pay your debt off and I can help you guys get back on track, like let's do it. Let's get it.
Right, because now there's another opportunity for all of us
Right.
to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I tell people, I was like, I'm not thinking about living in a multi-million-dollar mansion and driving. Like my favorite car is a Bentley. Don't get me wrong. I love Bentleys. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy because like I don't think about that stuff no more. You know what I'm saying? Like for me to be able to wake up and change somebody's whole life, like I think about that, and to be able to create a work environment one day. Like our goal is to create our own warehouse to where like people retire, people looking for jobs. Man, you come and work for us,
Right.
And the crazy thing about it, you ain't even gotta wear my shoes. I don't even care. I just want people to come to a place like we all work 9 to 5s and we always critique 9 to 5s. Like, man, if I own this, I do this, I do that. But guess what? I own my own brand. So as God continue to elevate me to the next level, man, I'm gonna create my whole atmosphere of our work environment
Hmm.
to the best, to where when you come to work, you love coming to work. You like, oh my God, like
That would
I
be the best
yeah,
environment.
I'm like, I want to see what they gonna do today for us. So, that's my biggest thing.
And if someone was to come to you today looking for advice, what would be I would say, the top answer you would give them, or just what would you say?
Man, honestly, for me, I would tell anybody to don't give up. Like life is so precious. I know there's so much like weigh us down. Just like diving in this conversation. How you mentioned about your rough day. Like I have so many rough days. Like so many. But I always tell people that you don't never really see my rough days because I've learned to work off of negativity. And I see people on social media be like, positive vibes in 2023 and this and that and all that. And I'm like, cool, like, let's see it when it happens.
Right.
And for
It
me,
sounds good.
yeah. So for me, I work off of like a car battery, and I tell people this all the time. I said, I work like a car battery. I said, you got to have a negative charge and a positive charge to bring life to that battery to be able to start that car. Without the negative and a positive connection to that battery, there's no life to the car. So I have to have negativity in my life for me to have positivity. So all the negative that I went through, all the trauma, the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, all that, guess what I did? I used that to turn it into positivity. You know what I'm saying? So I tell everybody, like, God created you for a reason, for a purpose. You got to figure that out. So at the end of the day, you got to say, God, why did you create me? Like, for real, I ask myself this, and people probably gonna be laughing.
It's so true. Like you said, you had a dream. I had a
Yeah.
dream. I had a podcast, and it was lit. And then the next morning, I woke up and I figured out a way to how to really put this podcast
Right,
to work.
man.
And here we are in year 2.
Look,
So
and that's what I'm saying. Like you as a woman, like that is a platform, and you're opening up doors, for so many people, women, men, like so many people. And it's like that is the blessing, in that. And that's why I tell people, I was like, you gotta ask yourself and wonder, like, why did God create you as a human? Why didn't he create you as a seal at the zoo or a lion or a
right.
dog or anything like that? You know what I'm saying? He designed you for a reason and for a purpose. And until you got to figure out what your purpose is of being here. Like you're not just here just to take
There's a reason you're here. Right.
Yes. And so it's like for me, when I hear people like say negative things about Ozell brand or me personally, I just be like, dang, like it's crazy. Like it blows my mind. And I posted something earlier today where, in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, I'm not super spiritual. I don't want people to be thinking that, but I do have faith in God. I ain't no pastor, I ain't none of that. But
I believe in God. That's how far we get. There you go.
And so what I told people in that is that God, he tells us not to, he said, lean not into your own understanding. So when you lean into your own understanding, that's how you don't understand nothing. Like as a woman, when you try to lean into the understanding a man, you're not gonna understand it. Me as a man try to lean into the understanding of a woman, I'm not gonna understand it. But guess what? When I lean to understand God, he said he's gonna direct my path. So when I go to him and I lean to him and not to the people, that's where I start having an understanding. So when you're around people where you just like they feed off all this toxic energy, you're like, I don't know how they live like that. Well, stop trying to figure it out because he's telling you when you try to figure it out, it's gonna make you feel like you crazy. So allow him to be God. He got you, and everything gonna come together. And that's how I live my life. That's exactly how I live my life now.
And how can the listeners, the viewers, find you and your brand?
Man, we on all social media platforms. So Facebook, Ozell Brand, Twitter, Ozell Brand, IG, Ozell Brand, TikTok, Ozell Brand, LinkedIn, Ozell Brand.
I know that's right.
You know what I'm saying? What did I say? Twitter, Ozell Brand. We everywhere. And then also you can visit our website at ozellbrand.com. And also, if even if someone want us to come to speak, at any event, I don't care. I mean, I could speak at a marriage retreat. I was married once upon a time. Unfortunately, I've been through a divorce, but I matured from that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I can speak on things to help encourage other people whether you're a broken man, a broken woman, broken children. I was a broken child before. You know what I'm saying? I was a abuser verbally, you know what I'm saying, in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship before, like I was out there, living a sinful life, cheating and stuff like that. Like I was that dude, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not that person no more. So it's like, allow me to tell this story to encourage you to keep going. And it's funny because one of my partners called me before I jumped on here, and that's why I was encouraging him. I said, man, one thing that I realized in my life is that we will use excuses just to satisfy our own personal good. And I said, if a woman cheat on a man, that doesn't give you a reason to go and cheat back on her. You got one or two options. Either you leave her or you walk in forgiveness and figure it out. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
only two options. And vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And so it's funny because when I talk about stuff like this, people be like, well, how you go from talk about shoes to that? I told y'all our slogan is is not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. I live this. This is my life. So it's like, why would you want to buy some shoes from me and you don't even know who I am? You don't even know what our brand stand for. There are so many designers and so many brands out there who don't like women, who don't like men, who don't like blacks, who don't like white, who don't like gays, who don't like Jews. There's so many out there, but guess what? You still rock them. You know what I'm saying? You rocking some designer dude who don't like women, who think that abuse is legit. So it's like, nah, I want y'all to know me and get to know me from a personal level. So if people want to invite us for speaking engagements, career day, whatever, you can email us at info@ozellbrand.com and we'll be sure to, tap back in with you as soon as possible.
You heard them all, guys. So make sure you go visit his website. If you need some words of encouragement, hit him up on any of his social platforms, and buy some shoes also.
Right. Definitely. And like I said, we here for the community. Whatever we could do to assist, if somebody want to fly us out somewhere to speak to the youth, career day, whatever, like we there, like that's what we all about. And for me, I tell people like my story is my story, and I will love to be the author and narrate my own story, between the brokenness, the growth. I'm like, our stories as people will really help others,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the most encouraging thing, like helping others, learn how to love, learn how to forgive, like learn how to walk, walk those, in that, whatsoever. And so that's what I'm big on, just bringing something different to the table, like, shout outs to everybody who's got their own business, who got stuff going for themselves, man, just keep going, like, just keep pushing because, it's a struggle, and I always tell people, like, it's easy to do wrong. It's so easy, but how about try to continue to do right? Like, let's try it, so, there you have it, we here for the community, you
I
know.
love that. Thank you for
So,
coming and, being honest and open and sharing your journey with me. I
yes, ma'am.
appreciate that to the fullest because this platform is all about being real and being who you are. So I definitely love that. And like I said, thank you again for coming on Sports Talk with C.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, anytime,
All
anytime,
right. All right.
anytime.
Bet. Anytime.
You just let me know date and time. Look, I got you. We'll be there. Like, hey, even